I've been looking through some articles, and I saw that VW released their Mark 8 production date and their first pictures and designs and things like that of the Mark 8 Golf, which kind of gives you an idea of what the GTI is going to look like, and I have a lot to say about that. At the dyno, guys, I know in my last video I realized that I wasn't very clear. I thought I said it towards the end of the video, but then, you know, someone commented on it and then made me look at the video again and realized that I never really told you what happened at Speed World. So, I had, when I first called in, or the second time I called in, I had a conversation with one of the guys. I told him I wanted to be there around noon. He said, yeah, no problem. Let me patch you through to this other guy, right? So I spoke to this other guy, and we didn't talk about time at all. I figured we had already kind of set the time from the first guy I spoke to, but apparently the second guy was the one who's going to do the dyno in the first place. So he never talked about it. He assumed, and I assumed that he already knew, so we never really came to a full agreement with the second guy. So when I called in to confirm, the second guy was the one that picked up on Monday, and I told him I'll be there on Tuesday. He said, yeah, fine, no problem, come in. I'll make sure everything's ready for you. Great. Pulled up there at around 12:15 or so, 12 o'clock, and he's like, what do you mean? We said 6:30. Guys, not once during any of those conversations did we ever say 6:30. But it is what it is, guys. They weren't able to do it at noon because apparently the way it's done is it pretty much shuts down the entire shop because the dyno is parked right in front of the front door, so they can't park cars in the other lifts. So yeah, so that's what happened. But that's in the past. I am gonna leave the negativity to the back end, and then just to think about next Tuesday and how my dyno results are actually going to come through next Tuesday, which is going to be great. So yeah, but now to the topic of this video, and I'm going to kind of take you guys on the go here because I have to get to work and I have a couple of things to do prior to getting to work. I have to drop this off at the UPS, USPS, post office or whatever, and because it's a delivery that I have to send out for eBay or whatnot. I've been looking through some articles, and I saw that VW released their Mark 8 production date and their first pictures and designs and things like that of the Mark 8 Golf, which kind of gives you an idea of what the GTI is going to look like, and I have a lot to say about that. Let me get to driving because I'm running a little bit late here. It's about 11:14 and I have to get to work by 12. I wanted to talk about a few things regarding that release. Now, I read through the entire article and there are a few things that kind of stood out, and I thought everyone should kind of know about. So the car itself is supposed to start production in 2009, in summer 2009, and they changed the design a bit. I think they made a lot of positive changes. I think they made some changes that are somewhat questionable. They went overall with somewhat of a sleeker look up front with a more like kind of pointier nose, which I'm usually a fan of, and I don't think it looks bad at all. But I actually think the car is going to look really good if it's, you know, ever stands, and which it's eventually going to be. I mean, one Volkswagen is not on bags. But I think that it's going to look a lot better once it's like lowered and dropped on some nice wheels, because the car will look like pointy. It'll look like a little rocket, which the GTI has always kind of looked like one. So they made the front a little bit more angled, like I said, like a little bit pointier. They elongated the headlights a little bit. The front grille looks similar still. So, you know, there isn't too much of a change there, at least that's just the Golf. Obviously the GTI is going to have their differences, but with the Golf itself, it looks nice. I like it. I think the rear of it is probably my favorite because they kind of thinned out the taillights to make it look very like 2020 plus. One of my favorite parts of the GTI or of the Golf, the Mark 8 Golf design, is those like integrated exhaust tips into the rear diffuser. I think that's pretty sick. Change a lot of the design features just to obviously, you know, appease the public, and they're moving into a more somewhat of a futuristic era, right? A lot of the cars are going to start to move into more of a futuristic era where everything is very aerodynamical, very thought out, and electronic, right? I think that's like the end-all be-all of everything. Everything's going to move to electric. So on that subject, as far as electricity, now in that article they mentioned something about part-time hybrid engines. Do somewhat of a hybrid system in every single one of their cars. I don't necessarily know how I feel about that. I think it's just like the petrol head in me just like resisting change and resisting moving to like an electric car. But I think electricity is definitely the wave of the future, and we've already seen cars like the Tesla producing ridiculous amounts of power from the get-go, like from the factory, which is insane. I mean, top speed in most of the cars before you can, eliminate a governor is like 115 anyway, 115, 120, I think. So, and what are you going to do with all that power? I don't know. I mean, what do I do with all the power I add? I don't know. But I'm in the 300s. That car, at least the GTI version of it, it's supposed to come out with 250 horsepower, which makes me think that the torque numbers are going to be somewhere in the 300s, which would be pretty sick for a car that's coming factory and you can put out that much power. And it's going to be very zippy, obviously. So that's going to be a nice gain. The Golf R, on the other hand, will come with 350 horsepower. Wow. I mean, like, what are the torque numbers going to be? Like 450? 400? Those are like stage 1 numbers almost, right? Or almost, yeah, it's just about. I mean, that's a pretty significant jump, guys, from what we're seeing now on the market. So it's actually pretty exciting. Obviously, I've been flashing pictures left and right, so you guys get your own idea of what it's supposed to look like. I think the Mark 8 is going to be a really nice looking car. I think overall, so long as they keep some version of this seating, obviously the traditional GTI plate seats, that's going to be sick, keep the originality of it. The interior is supposed to, they're calling it, and I quote, moving to a new era of interior electronics and connected services. So what that means to me is obviously everything will be digital. They talked about a climate control system that's also going to be digital, so no more like buttons or dials. It's all going to be digital, maybe like a touchscreen or something. Obviously, we're going to have the digital cockpit. That's the thing that's we're already seeing in the Mark 7.5, and it's definitely going to be the Mark 8. I think a lot of that Audi technology that they started to release is going to be seen in this Mark 8 as standard equipment. Obviously, you're going to get a lot more, of the safety features, the blind spot monitoring systems, the lane departure warnings, the pre-collision systems, a lot of sensors and things like that. Like a lot of the things that a lot of people find intrusive, but other people just find safe. And every car is built differently for every other person. So I think it's going to be very, very cool to see what the whole thing kind of develops into. Wow, man. Sorry, I just have you guys like hanging on the dash, so I'm relying on my GTI staying nice and stable. But it's pretty slippery up there with the camera. I'm using my mirrorless, so yeah. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your opinions. Let me know if you actually read the article or not. It was posted on a few different websites, Autovlogger, a few different websites that are up. I'll actually put a link down below so where you can find it and read it for yourself. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know down below what you think of it. And guys, if you guys are not subscribed already, make sure you subscribe. Hit that like button down below. Make sure you hit the like button down below, guys. It really helps out the channel. And also subscribe for more content And if you're already subscribed and you haven't hit the bell, make sure you hit that as well, because obviously that's going to notify you when I put out new content. So thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one. Peace out.